If you're looking for an identity guard alternative to protect yourself from identity theft, then there are some options out there. Although Identity Guard is pretty good. Of the 7 identity theft protection solutions I've used, I'd say that there's only one that's right around comparable, and only one that I'd recommend over Identity Guard. And while I can't update this video once it's been published, you can check out the video description for my most up-to-date recommendations and links to any deals that I have. Proactively protecting your identity could save you time, money, and headaches down the road. If you've been a victim of identity theft before, then you already know it's money well spent. If you want a high-performing, comprehensive identity theft protection plan at a great price, one that's even better if you want to cover your spouse, your kids, and your parents, then you should definitely check out Aura. But Aura actually owns Identity Guard, so if you want to get off that platform altogether, then you should probably check out Identity Force. I think Identity Guard is a better option in many cases, but you're looking for an alternative, so Identity Force would be your next best bet after Aura. So why would you want an alternative to Identity Guard for identity theft protection? Well, my biggest complaint with them is that the benefits of their plans are spread out across a 3-tier pricing structure. So if you want to unlock the full benefits of Identity Guard, you really need to upgrade all the way to their top tier Ultra plan. Otherwise, you don't get access to many of their monitoring services like home title monitoring, criminal and sex offense monitoring, and USPS address change monitoring. And you don't even get that white glove fraud resolution like you get with Aura and Identity Force on all of their plans. That said, I think what Identity Guard does great is that they offer excellent dark web monitoring at a really approachable price with their value plan. But maybe you want more than that. Before we get too much further, let's take a step back and think about what it is that makes an identity theft protection service great. In my experience, the most important things to consider are the quality of their monitoring and the quality of their offerings for fraud resolution. And as with anything you're buying, the price you pay for the solution you choose should make sense. If you've used an identity theft protection platform before, which I'm guessing it's likely you have since you're looking for an alternative, then you know that the way that it works is that you input the personal information you want it to monitor, and it will scan the dark web among other places for your personal information. If it comes across your personal information, it'll send you an alert, tell you usually what it found, where it was found, and what you should do about it. The different companies vary quite a bit in terms of the types of personal information they allow you to monitor, as well as the quantities of each type. Identity Guard allows you to monitor quite a bit. You'll find the exact same set of allowable personal information inputs with Aura. Identity Force is a bit lighter on the types of personal information they allow you to monitor, but the quantities they allow you to monitor have been generous enough for me. For a contrasting example, LifeLock and Complete ID only allow you to monitor 5 and 4 email addresses respectively. By the way, Complete ID is not a bad alternative either. You do need to have a Costco membership to sign up though. And LifeLock? Once you're up and running with Identity Guard and Aura, they'll submit opt-out requests with data brokers on your behalf to help reduce junk mail, marketing calls, and spam emails. They're the only 2 companies I've seen do this for you. Then depending on what your protection includes, you might get utility account scans, so if an identity thief tries to open something like an electric service in your name, you'll get an alert. And a lot of them offer public records alerts, so you can get notifications if an identity thief tries to add their name to your home deed. There's also criminal monitoring records, so you can get an alert if someone tries to put your name down during an arrest. Aura, Identity Force, and Identity Guard offer all of these, although with Identity Guard, as we discussed, you'll have to upgrade your plan to access a lot of them. And of course, perhaps the most interesting facet of personal information monitoring for an identity theft protection solution is the dark web monitoring. I'll show you what different companies find on the dark web when scanning for my personal information later on in this video. But beyond personal information monitoring, there are a couple of other types of monitoring these companies offer. The biggest one is credit monitoring, and what you really want here is 3-bureau credit monitoring so that you can get alerts if there are any inquiries into your credit file across Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. A lot of times these inquiries are normal, but the reason you care with identity theft protection is because if an identity thief tries to take out a line of credit in your name, like a credit card or a car loan or something like that, you'll get an alert. Identity Guard only offers 1 bureau credit monitoring unless you upgrade to their mid-tier total plan or higher. And this is not uncommon. A lot of the companies want you to upgrade for the 3-bureau credit monitoring. With Identity Force, you don't get any credit monitoring at all unless you upgrade to their Ultra Secure Plus credit plan. Although the upgraded plan does unlock 3-bureau credit monitoring. Aura and Complete ID offer 3-bureau credit monitoring standard on all their plans. If you aren't actually monitoring your credit file activity, a lot of these companies offer a bit more. Ideally, you're also getting monthly Vantage scores and annual credit reports from all 3 bureaus. And if your identity theft protection company is hitting it out of the park like the Great Bambino, they'll even include a credit lock to prevent unwanted inquiries into your credit file with the click of a button. It's much like issuing a freeze with the bureau, but there are no forms to fill out in either direction, freezing or unfreezing. Now you get all of this standard on all plans from Aura and Complete ID, and you get the reports and scores from Identity Force, albeit at somewhat of a different frequency. And you can get the bulk of it from Identity Guard too, but again, you do need that upgraded plan. And lastly, there's transaction monitoring, which allows you to link bank accounts, credit cards, and often investment accounts so you can monitor all of your financial activity within one dashboard. Once linked, you can set alert thresholds to get notifications of any transactions over the limit that you set. This helps you identify fraudulent transactions quickly and take action before it's too late. So now let's hop back over to dark web monitoring and see how the Identity Guard alternatives perform in comparison to Identity Guard. I monitor all of the same personal information across each of the different identity theft protection solutions I use. As I mentioned, there are some companies that are a bit limiting in the amounts of each type of personal information you can monitor. For me, that impacts the amount of emails I input. In cases where I'm limited, I make sure to leave out email addresses that don't turn up any dark web hits across any of the other providers. That way I can best compare the different companies on a fair playing field. Since we're talking about identity guard alternatives, we might as well start with identity guard. They find 18 instances of my personal information on the dark web, and 9 of those hits are unique, meaning it's not just the same information posted in multiple places on the dark web. Now, lucky for me, all of my dark web alerts are leaked login credentials from various websites and apps as the result of data breaches. Obviously, it could be worse than that, so that's why I say that I'm lucky. These hits come from sites like Adobe, Dropbox, Myspace, and more. For comparison, Identity Force finds a total of 20 dark web hits, and of those 20, 10 of them are unique. And Aura finds 18 total dark web hits, with 9 of those being unique, just like Identity Guard. The hits are exactly the same because Aura and Identity Guard seem to be using the exact same technology. Now, typically you don't see perfect crossover from company to company, Aura and Identity Guard being the exception, of course. So for example, Aura is finding some hits that Identity Force is not, and vice versa. So it's hard to say definitively that one of these companies has the best dark web monitoring. Complete ID finds a total of 14 dark web hits, for example, and 9 of those are unique. I still think they're pretty good, but they're definitely finding less. LifeLock finds a total of 8 dark web alerts, and although they are all unique, they aren't even finding my leaked Gmail credentials that all the others I mentioned previously find. And that bothers me. My Gmail credentials are definitely my most sensitive leak on the dark web. Then there's Identity IQ. They turn up. Goose egg! So Identity Guard has pretty good monitoring, but yeah, there are reasons to go for one of the alternative identity theft protection solutions. So let's continue that discussion with taking a look at their fraud resolution offerings. So all of these identity theft protection plans come with some form of identity theft insurance. Identity Guard offers up to $1 million in identity theft insurance, which is pretty standard at a minimum. The company who offers the most is LifeLock. They offer up to $5,250,000 by my math if you opt for their top-tier Ultimate Plus plan for a family with kids. They make it look a lot better than that on their site, so make sure you follow those footnotes. But that plan is pretty freaking expensive, and the coverage is broken down into buckets. And as you move down the tiers, that coverage drops off drastically. Plus, if you sign up for LifeLock, then you're dealing with LifeLock, which I don't recommend. Oral offers up to $1 million in identity theft insurance per adult, which is up to $5 million in identity theft insurance on their family plan. That's a way better deal than LifeLock's Ultimate Plus plan. And with most of the others, you're pretty much getting around $1 million in insurance. There may be some that offer a little bit more, but none that stick out in my memory. Beyond financial coverage, it's really best if your identity theft protection offers white glove fraud resolution to take care of all the phone calls, paperwork, and legal jargon in the event that you are a victim of identity theft. This could save you hours and hours of frustration at a time when you're already frazzled. As I said at the top of this video, you get the white glove fraud resolution on all plans from Aura and Identity Force. And you can get it with Identity Guard, but you do need the upgraded plan. And the last thing to watch out for when choosing an alternative to Identity Guard is that one of these companies has absolutely terrible customer support. Not the kind of thing you want to deal with when you've just found out that your kid's college savings has vanished. I'll tell you this, all the companies I recommend have excellent customer service. When you consider everything these companies offer in their plans alongside the price, Aura is definitely the best Identity Guard alternative in my mind. But Identity Force is pretty darn good too, and Complete ID won't do you wrong either. But I also like Identity Guard. Remember to check out the video description for links to any deals I know of, as well as my latest recommendations. If you want to check out my Aura review, that's right here on this channel, and I have so many more reviews and comparisons of identity theft protection companies published and in the queue, so stay tuned.